Hello, my name is Wallace William Kurth. Most of you knew me as Wally. I was born April 4th of 1917 in Brookfield Township, baptized at the Lutheran Church there. My parents were William and Emma Leffers Kurth. I grew up at Lakeside, which is probably about 10-15 miles southwest of Hutchinson. My father worked in the creamery there for a number of years and then decided to open a general store, and he ran that for many years after that. Growing up in that area was a lot of fun. You can see this is the creamery at Lakeside, and back here behind this shed there was an open field. In the wintertime, they'd get water from the creamery and make a skating rink. Every time it would snow, as soon as it stopped snowing, the phone would start ringing and the boys would say, "When are you going to shovel? When are you going to shovel?" And so we'd set a time and everybody'd show up with their shovels, and 15-20 minutes we had the whole thing shoveled off, and then we'd have skating parties. Now, going to school was real easy for me because we lived right next to the schoolyard, so all I had to do was crawl through the fence into the schoolyard. But I have three brothers, Pearlie, Alvin, and Wendell. And on the closet wall, on the bedroom wall, there was 4 nails with 4 outfits for school. The first one up got first choice. Second one got second choice. I usually got the leftovers. I never was one to rise and shine real early. The school consisted of an entryway or cloakroom and then the main room. That was it. That's where the furnace was, and the teacher. We had one teacher that taught all 8 grades. Now, I managed to skip 2 grades because we were learning everything at the same time. And I've always contended that were the 2 years that they taught penmanship and spelling, which is the reason why I never. Actually, the real reason was that I was naturally left-handed, and they thought that was disgraceful at that time. So I was forced to write with my right hand, and I never did master that very well. After grade school, I went on to Dr. Martin Luther College in New Ulm. Played football there, and actually I got set back a year because I was behind. But that's where I met the lovely Hilda Ulrich. She was a real treat. We became friends and dated for a number of years. And when I finished high school, I went on to the Minneapolis School of Business and studied banking. After I graduated from there, I came to Hutchinson and got a job at Citizens Bank. This was only temporary. It was just till I found a real job. This in 1941, along with several other people, Howard Semmerow, Frank Baderius, Harvey Schultz, Harvey Bulldog, and Bruce Brummerd, we organized the first Hutchinson Water Carnival. We had a button with a picture of a girl water skiing, and reportedly there was over 10,000 people that showed up for the Sunday afternoon event. Also in 1941, they instituted a draft, and on Friday, the 13th of June, I got my draft notice, decided that rather than wait to get drafted, I would enlist, get my 1 year done, and then be done with it. Unfortunately, Pearl Harbor was attacked, war was declared, and everybody was extended for the duration. So I went down to Louisiana, which this interfered with our plans. Hilda and I were planning on getting married, so she ended up jumping on a train coming down to Louisiana. We got married there on January 4th, 1942. We spent most of our time with other married soldiers down there. I was stationed in Georgia and Louisiana for a while, and then got shipped off to Europe. Hilda came back to New Ulm to live with her parents. By that time, Jim and Joyce were born, our twins, and she was pregnant with Mary. There was a little confusion when the twins were born. We sent a telegram back to our parents and it says, "Twins arrived, boys and girls." So they weren't quite sure how many grandchildren they had. But at the time, Hilda was, like I say, pregnant with Mary, but she also had contacted malaria. The treatment for malaria is quinine. One of the side effects of quinine is that it can cause an abortion. So it was very tricky to get the dosage properly to treat the malaria and not cause an abortion. And it worked fine. Mary was delivered on time, but it was very hard on Hilda's health. And after Mary was born, she was very underweight. She was anemic. She had trouble nursing, and I actually have a letter here that was sent by her doctor to the Army requesting an emergency leave for me to come home. By this time, I was in Europe in combat, missing in action. I wasn't injured or anything, they just couldn't find me. I had gotten separated from my unit, and by the time they did catch up with me, the crisis had passed and Hilda had recovered. Now, when I was sent to Europe, they told me I couldn't tell anybody where I was stationed. So I sent letters back to Hilda with suggestions for naming this new baby girl. The first name started with E, the second with N. By the time I got to G, she figured out I was in England. I stayed in England until 5 days after D-Day, went to Normandy Beach up to the front yard lines and stayed there till the end of the war. I fought in France, Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. I was with the 7th Armored. I was a battalion supply sergeant, and we were caught in the Battle of the Bulge. Now, to give you an idea how devastating that was to our troops, at that time each officer was entitled to 2/5 of liquor every month. And I had just sent in my monthly requisition when we got trapped. And right after we were liberated by Patton, my liquor requisition came in, and I gave each officer 3/5 and each enlisted man 2/5. We had lost over 2/3 of our battalion. At the end of the war, I had contacted hepatitis, so I was in the hospital, and then there was a paperwork glitch, so I didn't get out until actually late 1946. By the time I got out, Mary was 9 months old, and the twins were 3. When I got out, moved back to Hutchinson, went back to work at the Citizens Bank. I continued to further my education at that time by taking summer school classes at the University of Wisconsin in banking. For hobbies, I belonged to the Crow Rinter Country Club. I loved to play golf and cards. In fact, Hilda and I belonged to a pinochle club with several couples that were with us for years. Franzens, Blacks, Matthews, several others. And we played together for 40 years, once a month. Oh yes, the Millers were also in that. I forgot that. I love to garden and do home repairs. That was pretty much my recreation. My family, my God, my community, and my job were all important to me. My family, like I said, we had the 3 children. Jim went on to become a pharmacist. Joyce went on to become dental hygienist, both at the University of Minnesota. Mary attended Augsburg and became a school teacher. and librarian. My jobs at Peace Lutheran were congregational president and treasurer. I also served on the finance committee. I was superintendent of the Sunday school, men's club officer, congregation fund committee, chairman of the building and planning committee in 1981. We're the ones that planned and developed the Peace Center. And I understand that was completed in 1982. Civic Activities, I was a charter member and treasurer of the Hutchinson Toastmasters Club, charter member, president of the Optimist Club. We won a big award that year for having the best scrapbook. This is a kind of like a journal with pictures and descriptions of all the activities of the club, one of which was starting a Big Brother program. And we won a national award for cities under 2,500. I was also charter member of the Hutchinson JCs, and I served as president and secretary and treasurer. And one year I served as treasurer of the Minnesota JCs. That year I won an award as one of the 10 outstanding young men in Minnesota. I also received the second Distinguished Service Award from the Hutchinson JCs. I was active in helping to promote Hutchinson to 3M. 3M was looking for a place to expand outside of the St. Paul area. And happy to say they chose Hutchinson. It was the first place outside of St. Paul they had a plant. Now they're worldwide. I also served on the Hutchinson Utilities Commission with Dr. Ross Shepard and Dr. A.J. Thompson. We did that for many years. I was the executive secretary of the Hutchinson Chamber of Commerce for many years. President and drive chairman for the Hutchinson United Way. And I served on the board for the Hutchinson Growth Council, which is now known as Hutch Development. I was the financial advisor for the Hutchinson Community Hospital for 20 years, and also for financial advisor for Burns Manor. I was president of the McLeod County Lutheran Laymen's League, and I served on the education committee for the Minnesota Bankers Association, and also on the Augsburg County College Building Fund. Now, I always wanted to go back to Europe and do some sightseeing when nobody was shooting at me. But Hilda was afraid to fly, and she got deathly sick, seasick going on a ship, so we didn't go. But then when her little boy got sent over to Germany for 2 years by the Army, she decided if she wanted to see him, she was going to learn how to fly. So she did, and she loved it.